Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are continuing the very complex case of Debbie Collier. The cops have referred to this as a very complex case, and they have continued to give more updates. And so we're going to be diving into what do we know now? This is a very strange and sad case. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. Let's go ahead and dive into what we have found out now. So Debbie Collier goes missing and later is reported dead by the cops. She is looked all over for, and then they later find her van, and they go searching a little more deeper into the woods, and they find her body. And the thing about this whole strange case is we still do not know who did this to Debbie Collier. And that's what makes this such a strange and very sad case. So Debbie goes missing. And now the death of the missing mom is described as personal and targeted, cops said, while revealing new evidence in the murder case. The 59-year-old, she was mysteriously found dead in a ravine in rural Georgia on September 11th, less than 24 hours after she was captured on surveillance buying unusual items at a dollar store. They're still trying to figure out why she was in this store buying stuff, and some of these things were found next to her body when she was found deceased. And so that's what makes this extremely strange as well. What happened to Debbie Collier? And so the Habersham County's Sheriff's Office, they believe that Collier's death to be targeted and not the work of a serial killer. And here's the thing about where this serial killer thought has come from. You know how people throw things out there. I see true crimers still talking about Kiely Rodni. This has never been reported as an actual true crime. Nothing. All it is people fishing for views. I get it. It's their channel. They could do it however they want. But here is what happens with that. When you speculate and you speculate and you speculate, other people believe that. I don't know why. I think they just want to find that Kiely Rodni was part of a true crime story. I don't understand. I'm not even going to try to understand. But in this particular case, now people are like, was it a part of a serial killer? No, I personally do not believe it's a part of any serial killer. And just as police have described now, they believe this was personal and targeted. And so we're trying to find more answers on this. Officials have shared that they discovered Collier's purse and cell phone at the scene of the crime. And it was determined that Collier sat in her car, which was a rented Chrysler Pacifica, for 10 minutes before leaving the store. That alone is a pretty strange occurrence. Why would she stay in the store for 10 minutes? This means that the Venmo payment she sent to her daughter, Amanda Bearden, went through before she left the parking lot. Another very strange occurrence. Collier at the store had purchased a tarp, poncho, lighter, tote bag, and paper towels, according to the Habersham County Sheriff's Office, and authorities continue to investigate Collier's death. And Colonel Murray Kogod told the press, "We are now just beginning to get responses to search warrants and subpoenas in the case," and which Colonel referred to as a complex case. And he continues, the Colonel Murray continues, "It is going to take significantly more time than the 19 days that have passed since the discovery to solve this crime." We later find out that there were some 911 calls that were revealed. And the news from the sheriff's office comes after these 911 calls were obtained by Fox News. A caller who identified herself as Diane Shirley, which is Collier's sister, she mentioned a previous encounter with an unidentified ex-con. Shirley says, "From my niece, she said that Collier was in an accident about a month ago." Her sister Shirley says that Collier was driving behind a truck when a paint can fell from the vehicle, striking her car. And so the paint went everywhere, Shirley said, and the driver was trying to convince my sister not to tell the cops that he was driving because he was out on parole. And there was a stipulation to his parole that he could not drive. Now, police confirmed to Fox News that Collier had been involved in a crash on April 30th, but it is not known if that was the accident in question, because we still don't know really what happened. Now, Collier's husband, Stephen, told the dispatcher that the woman's purse was found at the home by his stepdaughter, Amanda Bearden. But again, they said that the purse was also found at the crime scene. That is very weird. And so Stephen Collier, he says, "Came home, my wife wasn't home, her driver's license still in there, the rental car is gone, and her daughter's here." He said at around 6 p.m. on September 10th. And this marked the first official missing person report when he called it in. And he continues and he says, "We are kind of worried about what's happening and where she's at. I was wondering if you could send somebody over here." He also told the dispatcher that his wife had no known medical issues. He said that he was out for most of the day parking cars for the football game. They are big fans of of Georgia football. And you can see she's wearing gear because this is a big day. I don't know if she was going to be heading to the game. You know, they say that they didn't see anyone in the van with her. That's just what they say. Again, we really don't know. And so the dispatcher then reportedly asked if Collier had gone out or to someone else's house. Stephen responded, "That's a good question." And he says, "I thought she was out shopping for food. Her daughter came over with that strange message, and then went upstairs to her bedroom and found out that her driver's license and credit card were still here. So that doesn't sound like her leaving the house to go shopping like I thought she was," he said, adding that Collier often shops on Saturdays. And so Collier, she was last seen in a Georgia dollar store on September 10th, less than 24 hours before she was found dead in the woods. And she left her Athens home in this rental car. You can see in front of the sheriff's. This is where they found the van. And she was carrying only her bank card and driver's license. She enters a Family Dollar store in Clayton at around 2:55 p.m. local time. And surveillance footage, which has since been released by Habersham County Sheriff's Office, shows Collier wearing a sun visor, a red shirt, and a blue skirt. And cops said that Collier remained in the store until 3:09 p.m. They also revealed that she appeared to be calm and not in fear of anything. Minutes later, at 3:17 p.m., she supposedly wired more than $2,000 via Venmo and messaged her daughter, Bearden, and the text warned, "They are not going to let me go." It also contained a reference to a key that was underneath a flower pot. Now, the crime scene, the cops have managed to narrow down the time of Collier's death to a window between 3:09 p.m. on September 10th and 12:44 p.m. on September 11th, when her body was found. Her remains were found near a highway in Clarksville, around 60 miles north from her home. Collier was naked, her stomach was charred, and she was grasping a small tree down a ravine, according to police. And detectives, they found a red tote bag and partially burned blue tarp as they combed the scene for clues. They also discovered the remains of a fire. Now again, the rental car was located 60 miles north from her home. And at this time, there's still no known suspects. And they find a lot of things, and of course, the police are going to stay hush hush about this. Now, cops have ruled the death to be a homicide, and they have not released all the details surrounding the case, because they say this case is a mystery. So it's obvious they're not going to share more than they need to at this time, because whoever is responsible, that would give them time to cover this stuff up if they know what the cops know. And so they're not going to be releasing anything, but they did say this is a homicide. Now, while Collier's message to her daughter was concerning, investigators publicly ruled out kidnapping and suicide. Again, they have not yet named a suspect or a motive, but they have tied a few people close to this case. And this is where it gets a little scary, because you don't want the wrong people to be named in these particular things. So, for example, they have shared that Bearden's boyfriend, Andrew Gigerich, told Fox News that the couple had nothing to do with the murder, despite Collier's odd last Venmo and message to her daughter. He told Fox News Digital that the couple barricaded the front and back doors of their home, and the ex-amateur MMA stressed that he and Bearden had nothing to do with Collier's death. And he even added, "We are a little scared ourselves." And why would they be scared? Well, I don't really know, to be completely honest, why they would say they are scared. Stephen Collier hasn't said anything. Really, the only time he spoke to the public was to acknowledge his wife, to acknowledge that he knows that she is deceased, and to even throw in some of the great things about who she is. And that's really all about that the husband, Stephen Collier, has shared. Now, Debbie Collier's cell phone was smashed near her nude body, her nude and partially burned body. And it is unlikely that she was targeted randomly, investigators said in a press conference. that there was no way that she was randomly targeted. And the sheriff deputy Murray says there is nothing that has come from this investigation that would support the theory that either this was a random act of violence or that there is a serial killer in the area. At this time, the investigation is leading us to the proposition that Mrs. Collier's death was personal and targeted. Personal and targeted, meaning they wanted to kill Debbie. Her body was found on September 11th. So, why did this happen? They did find out that the day before there was a commotion at their home. And according to the neighbor, there's been a few times that there has been a commotion in the home. They never said that Stephen and Debbie were fighting. Let that be known. But it is well known that Amanda Bearden has some personal issues. She's been targeted. She's been in problems with the police. She's had problems with ex-boyfriends. And so that's where it's like, could she have something to do with this? Why was that Venmo payment sent to Amanda? Well, that part I don't know. Why wasn't it sent to the son? He seems a little more responsible. But here's the thing about Amanda. This family has helped bail her out of problems quite a number of times. And that is why people are suspicious of Amanda. Now, granted, Amanda was around the scene when they pulled her body out, and she was hysterical about it. Now, this Venmo payment, my question is $2,400, actually $2,385, I believe is the number. That's a very odd amount. My question is, was it a $2,400 payment that was sent and Venmo took out fees? Because that's a big amount. Venmo needs to make money too. Granted, PayPal owns Venmo, but there definitely, I would think, are some fees involved with this. I don't know. What do you think about this? What do you even think about this strange case? Let me know in the comments what you think about this so far. Now, one detective, George Casson, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, he said there is a question there as far as, do we know where the money is now? No, we don't, he says. For the simple fact that we're still obtaining information when it was sent, where it was sent, what device it was sent from. That is where it's, again, where's the money now? Was it spent? Because if it was spent, that's an odd turn of events as well. And if it was spent, it would not look good on Amanda. And so this Venmo message that was sent to Amanda, they are not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door. I don't understand that. Now, detective said that Bearden had lived in Maryland with her brother until September 8th. She was last seen visiting the family dollar store on September 10th, according to authorities. And at this time, authorities have not zeroed in on a suspect, and they're still awaiting a medical examiner's assessment on Collier's cause and manner of death. And so, they're still investigating this as a homicide investigation. They've ruled out suicide. They've ruled out a kidnapping. But why was this text message sent? Period. And so they have made it very clear they have not ruled out anyone at this point. They say we are still developing what has happened at the home. They're still evaluating what happened at the crime scene. Now, while investigators initially suggested Collier's death was potentially drug-related, Kogod, I don't know how to pronounce the name, I should have checked, my apologies, said at this time, the investigation is not leading into that direction. I think that is key to know that they're even ruling drugs out of this. And the detectives suggested that they're treating this as a homicide because of the burns found on Collier's body, which was located in a ravine 13 miles from that family dollar store on September 11th, which Kogod adding that they believe the killing was deliberate and personal. And according to an incident report, Collier's remains were found nude around 12:44 p.m. on September 11th, and she was grasping a small tree, and there were burns on her stomach. Also at the crime scene, these multiple items that she bought. That is really an odd situation as well. Why would these things that she bought be at the crime scene? What do you think about that part? Because to me, that is really, really a very weird turn of event. Okay? She is seen at the family dollar store only to later be, what in the world, right? Like, holy moly's. The last thing you would have thought is the things that she's buying at the dollar store would be seen at her own murder scene. Like, wow. And so now that we know that this is personal and targeted, I mean, right now it's hard to obviously have in your mind, like, where does the daughter play a role? It's hard to not keep her in this thought process because of all the baggage. I truly am not sold on it yet. I feel like there needs to be a little more that comes out if we're going to actually believe that she has something to do with that. We need more in this particular case. I personally believe that. And so, will we find out more? My friends, I can only hope we can find out more, because there's no way that this thing should go unsolved. But my guess is that investigators, they have some evidence. They have something. They just need more. So my friends, if you know anything about this case, you're strongly encouraged to help any which way you can. Because again, personal and targeted, you know what that means? Not a random act of violence at all in this. And so when you find her cell phone and purse, well, that would tell me that when she got back in the vehicle, she could have definitely used her phone to send that Venmo payment, because at that time she would have her phone with her. Is that not a fair statement? And so, but why would she be sitting there for 10 minutes before she pulls out? It does not take 10 minutes to send a payment. And there should be video footage of her sitting in that car, because they said they have video footage of her outside that car, outside the store for 10 minutes. So that video footage, there should be some video footage somewhere that shows her sitting in the car on her phone. Whether someone's behind in the van in the tinted windows and you cannot see her, and they're holding a gun saying you better do it, whatever. Okay, that would kind of make sense there. And so, but later that same cell phone was found at the crime scene smashed. Okay, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind with this particular thing. Because look at here. At the store, her car is seen here. There's gotta be camera footage elsewhere in this vicinity that shows a little bit of a close-up. There's gotta be some type of footage that shows a little bit more of a close-up. Because there has to be something that shows whether she was alone in that car. But again, they can't give away everything, right? They just can't. And so in this footage, she waits in the black 2022 Pacifica for 10 minutes until 3:19 before heading south on GA 15 highway. And so only time will tell, because she's even seen just calmly walking into the Family Dollar store in Clayton, Georgia at 2:55 on Saturday, September 10, buying all these items. And so the real estate office manager is then seen at the cash register buying a rain poncho, refillable torch lighter, a 2-roll pack of paper towels, a 7.5 foot and 9.5 foot tarp, and a reusable tote bag before leaving at 3:09 p.m. And so this new footage shows her waiting in this Pacifica for 10 minutes. And again, the $23.85, was this after fees were taken out? That is another great question, I would say. Because you got to ask yourself pretty much everything. Because she is literally found near this trunk of tree. And so this is where it's extremely hard. But you really stop and you think, those items would be kind of for a chilly day as well. Was it chilly in Georgia September 11th? I doubt it. But some of those items could very well be that it could very well be for her tailgating at the Georgia game. Again, they were all big fans, right? They were big fans of this Georgia team. The whole family were big fans of the Georgia team. This was a big deal for them. And so they're investigating everything. You know, forensic gloves were even at the scene. Pieces of paper of what appears to be a strip of a book cover, which may have been used to light her on fire. At least they were trying to light her on fire. But the question is, why? The belly. Were they going to try to burn the whole body? Were they going to try to burn the whole body? That remains to be seen as well, right? So that in itself is a big question. Why were there gloves there? Why were there gloves there? Forensic gloves, nevertheless. Well, that's pretty obvious, right? To cover their prints. And then you got the book cover, or the pieces of paper, what appears to be a strip of a book cover. And so, again, we wait to find out more. And so now they have multiple search warrants on multiple cell phone carriers, which is probably the family as well, because it has been clearly shared that they took the daughter's phone, they took Amanda's boyfriend's phone, and now they have multiple search warrants on multiple cell phones, and they're working to get all pertinent data from those devices and from those carriers. I can tell you, they're going to be searching where were these phones located at. And truth is, it could take a while to get that stuff back. I don't know how fast they can turn it around, but they're hopefully trying to develop more of a timeline and find out more information about exactly what happened. And again, this transfer payment officer said you can access accounts from many different devices, which is why we are going through the extent of being able to determine what device that Venmo was sent from. My first guess is that it was sent from her device because she got in the car, right? I don't think her daughter ever said that the phone was left at home, purse was left at home, ID was left at home, debit card was left at debit card. Did she pay with cash at the dollar store? These are a lot of questions that we still are looking for answers on, right? And so this is why they're going through the whole extent of being able to determine what device was this Venmo payment sent from. And regarding the analysis of records and data, such as Debbie's phone records, internet usage, financial records, plus those of her family, the detective would only say that being sensitive information, we don't want to reveal any information that could potentially jeopardize our investigation. It's exactly what I was saying at the beginning of this. They gotta be careful what they put out there in this world because they have to stay quiet about this. Excuse me. I think that is a big part of it. They cannot take a chance on jeopardizing this investigation at all, right? And so they're continuing to investigate her activities from September 10th through September 11th. And officers, the detectives, they're saying we've lost a lot of sleep. We don't want to show our hand before we have facts. Smart move. Chief Deputy Kogod added, we are not ruling anything out. And he said that when asked if Debbie might have met someone where her van was found near her body, again, 60 miles from the home she shared with her husband, Stephen. Now, I see a lot of people say, why are people speculating on Amanda and not the husband? And here's the truth. Every time you hear about these true crime cases, what is the first person they always go look for? Where's the husband? Interrogate the husband. Truth is, they've not written anyone off. But all the internet sleuths are so quick to try to blame the husband. I'm going to go on record right now and say I don't believe Stephen Collier has anything to do with this. Them sleeping in separate beds, that is not even out of the ordinary. I honestly think later in life, me and my wife probably be sleeping in separate rooms too. I snore a lot, which is the same reason that Stephen Collier gave why he sleeps in separate rooms. You know, my wife is a sensitive sleeper, so I can definitely see it. Why they would be sleeping in separate rooms. But at the same time, they're still not writing anyone off. And so cops also revealed video showed the husband was at work between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th. So that too makes it hard to actually try to point any fingers at the husband who he was allegedly also at work the whole time. I'm just not believing that he has anything to do with this. I just don't. Now, Debbie's minivan, rented from Enterprise because her truck was in for repairs, was discovered at the entrance to a densely wooded area. And when they found that densely wooded area, that's where they went a little deeper. And so this entrance was off of Route 15 in Clarksville. Clayton is 12 miles north, while Athens is south. And so after they discovered the vehicle, they then discovered about a quarter of a mile away, where she was clinging to a small tree, was naked and body was charred. And this is where that is so sad. My friends, again, if you are a person of prayer, please pray for the family that they get some justice for Debbie Collier. And if anyone close to her is responsible, we hope that they're held accountable for this. My friends, let's get justice for Debbie. If you know anything, call the police. And let me know in the comments what you think about this very strange case. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday morning or whenever you're joining me. And, my whole channel is to keep you updated on what could go horribly wrong in this crazy world we live in, with the intention of keeping you aware. If this sounds like something you would like, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell. That way YouTube lets you know whenever I go live, whenever I'm sharing anything or any content. And if you did get some value, please hit the like button, because that tells YouTube you got some value and they will potentially share it with more people. My friends, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to serving you again. Rest in peace, Debbie Collier. Rest in peace. Taken from this world way too soon. Have a great day, my friends. Talk to you soon. Peace.